All right, Linus traded. What was your reaction to hearing the news?
It was expected. They were, talking to people closer to the situation up in Ottawa over the weekend. They always felt that they would get to the finish line. It was just a matter of when. And the other parameters of the deal that are a little bit confusing, a little bit unknown right now. I know I was driving in. You guys were mentioning the extension. He can't sign one until July 1st.
Right.
So they could have a handshake agreement.
But you can be close, right?
You can be close. Yeah. And so that was sort of the hang-up. It's like, will you sign an extension here? He did waive his no trade to go there. He did have to waive to facilitate it. Ottawa was on his it's actually a 14-team no trade, not a 16. So there was
I looked and it went down. It was losing a team every year, right? Isn't that the way it went?
So it
16, 15, and now 14.
So it was a full no move the first 2 years. Then it was a 16 team last year. Now it was a 14
so it
team.
went 16 to 14.
Yeah, which who were those two teams? It was
probably now back in.
It's probably Edmonton, Florida. He's like, I'll go there. They're like, well, they're a little busy right now, man. No, but it was it was expected. I think once the suitors kind of came and went, he wasn't waving for LA. He didn't want to go out that far. New Jersey got Jacob Markstrom, so they were out. Once that happened, it was kind of like you had Ottawa, and then you had teams that were kind of in it, but not really. Detroit being one. And then you had teams that were kind of still assessing their options. Don Waddell in Columbus said they weren't going to buy out Merzlikins, so they were out. Carolina looks set with what they have right now, so they were out. So it really became just, I think, Ottawa or bust for the Bruins and for Linus Ullmark.
So what do you make of the return? What do you make of what the Bruins took back in this deal?
I love getting back into the first round. They haven't picked in the first round since Fabian Lysell in 2021. I like getting Mark Haselick, the bottom sixer. He's good on faceoffs. He's physical. He'll fight. I hate getting Jonas Korpisalo. I would not have touched this guy with a 10-foot pole. It is a horrible contract. Okay, so when Ottawa was in town back in April, I was talking to some Ottawa people, and I was like, what's going on with this guy? And they were like, well, there's a legit conversation about buying him out. It's like, talk about buying him out 1 year into his contract, and now he's a Bruin. And they only retain 25%. They're dancing in the streets in Ottawa about getting rid of this contract. It makes no sense to take this deal on. 4 more years, now at $3 million per, and we have no idea if he can play. 20 goalies last year played at least 50 games in NHL. Korpisalo was dead last in goals against average and save percentage. .890 save percentage, 3.27 goals against. This is not the flyer that I take on a guy. If he makes $1 million, 1.5, sure. $3 million, hate it. Hate it.
So the Bruins are now on the hook for 4 years and $12 million to this guy,
who we don't know if he can play or not. We have no idea.
Can they move that? If they take on 25%, if they pay $1 million a year.
Ottawa want to do that, and they couldn't do it. I don't know why the Bruins would be able to now. I don't know, and who's going to take him? We just talked about the goalie market being a little bit depressed now. Who takes him, right? And so I think you're kind of stuck with this guy.
You think we're stuck with this guy? There's no shot they can move him.
I wouldn't be surprised if they buy him out, but why are you doing that? Why are you doing Ottawa the favor there? They should be doing, once Linus Ullmark agrees to waive the no trade, it's Ottawa's time to figure it out. Do you want adequate goaltending or not? We're not taking on Jonas Korpisalo. You guys figure that out. You figure that out like the Bruins have had to figure out everything. With buying out Mike Riley, stapling a first-round pick to get rid of David Backes, stapling a second-round pick for the Ducks to take John Moore. Why do the Bruins have to make a concession here to take on a horrible contract? And I just don't know. People keep saying, well, he'll be better in the Bruins system. Why? Chara's not back there. Bergeron's gone. They allow chances and high-danger chances at a similar clip as the Ottawa Senators. I don't think this is a plug-and-play fix. And if I'm wrong, hey, I'll be the first one to say, hey, I was wrong about that. I wouldn't be the first time I've been wrong, but I just don't see it with this guy. There's a lot of leaks in his game. And goalie Bob, he's a magician. I don't know if he's this good of a magician, to be honest with you.
So he is going to be a Bruin. All right. We were talking about Brandon Bussi before the break. If he goes back to Providence, he does need to clear waivers, correct? Explain that contract that was signed yesterday.
Yeah, and this is another reason why I don't like it. So Brandon Bussi is out of options now. He's too old. He's played too many games. So he needs waivers. Waivers has nothing to do with the contract you sign, be it one way or two way. That has everything to do with what you're paid versus in the NHL versus the AHL. So if you're on a two-way contract, it just means that you're making two different salaries. Like for example, like in the minors, you're making $300,000, whereas in the NHL, you're making whatever your cap hit is. It has nothing to do. It has no bearing on your waiver status, and so he has to make the team or hit waivers. So that's the other part of it that you don't love. I don't like. I was okay with bringing in and Beetle, like you mentioned this and we're talking about it now. So like I want to he might not be part of their plans. Korpisalo might not be part of their plans, but let's say he is. What if he gets outplayed by Brendan Bussey in camp? So now you're going to waive Jonas Korpisalo and have a $1.85 million dead hit on your books? You can't afford that. You have too many needs. Like, you don't have Bergeron and Krejci and those guys on, discounted one-year deals for league minimum. Like, you're going to have to spend major money to bring in scoring, to bring in a center, maybe get some more defensive help. Like, you can't afford $1.85 million in dead cap if you were to waive Korpisalo down in the minors. It just the financial headache that you've made for yourself by picking this guy up borderline defeats the purpose of trading Linus Ullmark, in my opinion.
So this was the deal breaker, really, then, to get that first-round pick. Part of it. I mean, it's...
Yeah.
Well, McCone asked the question, are you a better team now, or were you prior to this?
So here's my question, right? I think that if we're looking at it like, okay, you got Korpisalo at $3 million and Swayman at $8 million, I don't see how you're a drastically better team because you need that $3 million to shore up secondary scoring, to get another defenseman, like something like that. But here's my question: Would you rather have the cap relief or a first round pick if you're the Bruins?
I think I'd rather have cap relief based on your team, the way your team's structured right now.
So,
because you're not going to know. You're not going to know for another year or two. What's Marchand going to be like in 2 years?
So Marchand's this is a really good question, really great segue, because Marchand's entering the final year of his contract. When that ends, he's going to be 35 plus.
Yep.
So he'll be able to sign those kind of Bergeron-esque, Chara-esque contracts where it's a low cap hit. You got bonuses, implemented there. But you had a chance to reset the deck here, so to speak, with your cap, and you're going to bring this guy in. Why? And you might buy him out. You might bury him. You're not trading him. And if you trade him, you're stapling something else to it. And at least that'd be my read on it. So here's the thing. The Senators came to the Bruins back at the deadline and tried to make a trade for Ullmark. Ullmark didn't want to go there at that point, and the Bruins were offered Korpisalo, and they said, "No, we don't really want him." But they want him at 25% off? I don't follow the logic there. So for the Bruins, was it about the cap relief or getting back into the first round? Based on what we saw yesterday, it feels like it was about getting back into the first round. And that's okay, but I just don't know if he is part of the equation, and I feel like we have to be careful here, in terms of just because I don't know. We don't know. Don Sweeney hasn't spoke. He's not going to speak today. He's not going to speak tomorrow. He's going to speak in Vegas before the draft. So we don't know what their plans are with this guy. So if they Martin Jones him, this is a whole lot of wasted energy and wasting, being angry. But if they're stuck with this guy, that being handcuffed to this guy is not something I'd want to do. I just wouldn't.